We are live. Hello, everyone. This is Camelle-ilona, and I'm jumping onto my Facebook page, onto the House of Ilona Clergy Facebook page on YouTube. And this is the journaling room live. So this is a room in the House of Ilona. And this is the journaling room where we talk about journaling, talk about publishing, and also about legacy and leaving a legacy. So I just want to have these conversations. I'm known in the fashion space. People know me for House of Ilona and doing clergy wear for many, many years. 15, 16, 17 years, many years. I've been known in that space, and I've pivoted into speaking, into writing. I've got over 20 books on Amazon. I'm going to speak some more about some of my books. And people are just like, didn't know you were doing this, didn't know you were doing writing and publishing. So I have been working with some incredible authors over the last 5, 6, 7 years, and we've been having a great time writing, publishing, and I'm very passionate about journaling and people writing and finding their voice. So every week, same time, same place, I'll be here on a Monday, just having a short conversation with different authors and different people talking about writing and journaling. So if you are joining me, would love to know where you're joining from. I'm learning the ropes on all of this equipment again. I used to be on here all the time, but it's been a few years, so it's great to be on here. And I'll be having a conversation today with an author that I've been worked with her quite intensely over the last year. And I'm excited to have a conversation with her. And each week, I'll bring in different people. Welcome. We've got someone joining us from Australia. Welcome, Crystal. Each week, I'll be bringing in different authors that I've been working with over the last few years, just sharing what I've been doing behind the scenes, but really passionate about publishing, about people writing and journaling for their mental health, and also leaving a legacy. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump in and I want to share a book that I worked on last year, which I absolutely love and adore and would love to share with you. It's called Woman in Waiting, and it's quite a big book, as you can see, and it's fully illustrated. I had a lot of fun illustrating this. As you know, I have a fashion background, so to be able to make this gorgeous book that we can read about, be encouraged through different stages of waiting throughout our lives, married, single, just waiting on the Lord, waiting on promises, waiting on things to come to pass. Beautifully illustrated book. You'll see there QR codes in there as well, because there's music that goes along with the book too, and it's called Women in Waiting. It's available on Amazon, and I'll be sharing more and more of my books each week, as well as bringing on some of the authors that I've been working with and sharing some of their books as well. So I wanted to share a journaling prompt with you from Women in Waiting. It's Worth the Wait by Camelle-ilona. So the prompt that I saw today as I picked this up, and it really rocked me, was, where am I mistaking silence for absence? Where am I mistaking silence for absence? And again, wherever that may be relevant in your life, just a prompt to think about from my new book, Woman in Waiting. So yes, let me know where you're joining us from. Do you like to write? Have you written a book? Do you have a book inside of you? Do you enjoy journaling? These are some of my pet topics that I love to speak about: journaling, publishing, and also leaving a legacy. So I'll be on here every Monday, about this time, same place, just having conversations about our stories, about books, about writing, about publishing. We've got Courtney joining us from the UK. Good to see you, Courtney. Thank you for being on the line, and I can bring that up. Hey, Courtney, good to see you, honey. So without further ado, I would like to bring up my guest, Darlene. It's good to see you. Yes, it's been a long time. Good to see you too. Darlene in Brooklyn, New York. We've got Philadelphia in the house. Hey, Philadelphia. Ara, great to see you. Great to have you on. I'm going to bring my guest up. Darlene says she owns a lot of my clergy pieces. As you know, I ran House of Ilona, women's clergy brand, for many, many years, 15 years, had an absolute blast running that, love fashion, and to be able to serve women in ministry. Pivoted during lockdown, and I wrote my first book, which is here, Finding Divine Flow. I wrote my first book, and then other people started asking, I want to write as well. How did you write your book? And I said, you write it through journaling. And they're like, how do you journal? I'm like, what? And so I've been on this passionate journey of helping people journal for their mental health, because it saved me through an incredibly hard season in my life. Taking to the pen, power in the pen, I was able to journal and write my way through. And so journaling and writing is incredibly powerful, life-changing and healing for me. And so I love to share that healing journey with other people. So I will be speaking a lot more about journaling over the coming weeks. Like I said, I'll be here on a Monday, same time, same place, talking about journaling, talking about writing, talking about publishing, and inviting friends on and people that I have been working with over the years. Got Valerie, she will be on here real soon. Step Out of Fear, phenomenal author that I've worked with. She's doing great things. She's like Camelle-ilona. Yes, Valerie's joining us from London. Darlene said, wonderful, you are a blessing no matter how God uses you. Amen. Bless you. Thank you, Darlene. All right, as I said a minute ago, without further ado, I will bring on my guest, a good friend of mine. Her name is Latoya Grace, and she's incredible. She's a singer and just does so many different things, and I'm excited to speak to her about her book. So welcome, Latoya.
Hey, Camille. Hi, everyone.
Good to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for
So
having me.
I have three hot fire questions for you. But tell us, first of all, my first question is always about journaling. So we'll talk about journaling, talk about publishing, and talking about legacy. So talk to us about journaling and writing. Like, what does that mean for you?
Oh, so many things. So I've been journaling in different ways really since I was a child. And I think that's the power of journaling. There's so many different ways that you can do it. And so if I reflect on my journey, even as a child, I would write poems or I would write letters that I'd never give to people, but it was my way of just expressing what I was feeling. So throughout the years, journaling really has helped me from a spiritual point of view and personal growth point of view as well, because I think sometimes the great thing about journaling is when you reflect and you look back at what you wrote 5 years ago, even a month ago, you can really just see the growth in yourself, but also see what God has done. And so even with journaling, sometimes I will write what I feel God is saying. And then you fast forward and then he does the thing and you're like, yeah, and it's just an encouragement. So journaling has really helped me throughout my life, from a mental health point of view, but also spiritual and personal growth, definitely.
Love that. Thank you so much. And we're talking about books. So
Mhm.
you have written your first book. Can we see
Yeah.
it? Awesome. Tell us about it. Tell us the title. Tell us where this came about in your writing journey. How did you go from writing and journaling to now being a published author?
Which still sounds crazy. But yeah, the book is called Worship Therapy, The Transformative Key to a Life of Wholeness. And so, as you said at the beginning, I am a singer, gospel singer. I've been leading praise and worship for over 10 years. And we so often equate worship to a musical experience. But what God was sharing with me is that worship is so much more than that. And if we take it to John chapter 4, verse 23, when Jesus spoke to the woman at the well, he told her that we can only worship in spirit and in truth. That is
Mhm.
true worship. And so there was nothing related to music in that. And so music is an expression of our worship, but the core of worship really is a spirit to spirit connection with God. And so the Lord spoke to me about writing a devotional called Worship Therapy. And at the time, I'd never heard worship therapy, didn't really know what it meant. But as I began this journey of writing, some of the things I've journaled over the years actually ended up in the devotional because God had me sharing moments in my life where worship, not necessarily the musical aspect of worship, but having that spirit to spirit connection with God and worshiping him in truth, being transparent and vulnerable. God was showing me how he has used worship as therapy throughout my life. And so that's really what the devotional is about. And the subtitle is The Transformative Key to a Life of Wholeness, because worship really is transformational. When you get to that place where you are worshiping in spirit and in truth, it's impossible that your life is the same.
I love that. Thank you so much. Valerie saying, hi, Latoya Grace.
Hi, Valerie.
You guys met at a journaling experience that we had, which was so beautiful.
Yeah.
We're setting goals and reflecting and planning. Definitely want to bring some of those back as well. Courtney says, worship is healing and love the title. Congratulations. Thank you, Courtney.
Amen. Thank you.
Tell us what it's been like being able to go from that kind of private, personal, vulnerable journaling to then putting it in a book, and that now being public for anyone to purchase on Amazon or anywhere around the world. They can purchase your book, Worship Therapy. So how does that feel to go from that private space to making that public? Like, are you quite an open public person that likes sharing all your stuff? Talk to us.
I know why you're laughing, because that is not me. Listen, I feel like I was hoodwinked and the Lord set me up, because he told me to write the devotional. I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then I was like, well, why am I telling my business? Why the world need to know the stuff? So yeah, it was interesting because I am a very private person and I love that for me. But I'm realizing that, wisdom will teach you that there are some things that, yes, you do need to keep quiet. And sometimes that may just be for a season, because ultimately it's about giving God the glory. And so everything that we've been through, the good, the bad, ugly, everything in between, when we come out of that, God wants the glory. He's brought us through it for a reason. And so as I was writing the devotional, even I was being blessed by some of the stories that I was able to reflect on, because sometimes we go through something and we know it was difficult and it was challenging, but as we're going through it, we're literally in it. So it requires us at the end to really just sit and reflect and see the magnitude of what God has done. And I think we're so used to being in autopilot and we just go and we get through this and then we face this challenge and we get through it. But when you sit and reflect on what God has really done, it's just incredible. And so, yeah, for me, writing the book was very different, because at times I did feel exposed, like, Jesus, why I need to be telling the people all my business and stuff. But God had me do it in such a way that there is that aspect of what I've been through personally. But at the end of the day, and at the end of every devotional, it always comes back to the power of worship, and building that secret place in that devotional life.
I love this. So now that you've written the book, and it's out there, Worship Therapy, what legacy do you hope to leave? Like, what is your hope when someone picks up your book and they read it by the end of it? What is it that you want for them, and what legacy is it that you want to leave ultimately?
Oh, I love that question. For me, so if we take it to the Bible, there were times when the children of Israel, when God would perform a miracle for them or do something incredible, the Bible tells us that they would leave stones of memorial in those places. And that was about the next generation understanding and always being aware of what God had done in previous generations. And so that's how I look at legacy, and that's how I look at worship therapy, the devotional, the podcast, and all the things that worship therapy is becoming, retreats and everything. I look at those as stones of memorial, so that one day when I'm no longer here, people will be able to read or watch or listen to worship therapy in the different mediums. And one, know that God is real. Two, know that the sacrifice of the secret place really is worth it, and that worship really is the key to living the life that God desires for us to live on this earth.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you. Lynette joined us. She says, amen. Awesome. I love what you said. And a question I would ask is, you mentioned about retreats. So you said, worship therapy retreats. What are some of the things that have come out? Because I know when I wrote my first book, Finding Divine Flow, and then I did the audiobook, and then I did the podcast, and then I did the academy. So things begin to come out of it. So you didn't even realize that you were going to write a book. You just kind of had this word and then it became a book. So what are some of the things that have come out of you writing a book?
So it's connected me to so many different people. One thing that's really been a blessing to me is hearing stories. You know, for example, there was a young person who purchased the book, and she spoke to me a few weeks later, and she said, "You know, you've opened my eyes, because I thought worship was the musical aspect, but now I'm realizing actually when I'm driving to work and I'm speaking to God and I'm communing with God that way, I'm still in worship." And so it's really been about the education, and I'm seeing the freedom and the impact that it's having on different people. And so, yeah, it's connected me to different ministers as well. So there'll be some events coming up as well where I'll get to share worship therapy and really just encourage people about getting back to that secret place and having that spirit to spirit connection with God. It's led to a podcast that you and I recorded, which is now on YouTube. It's also led to me being featured in a book and someone else's book, just so many different things, so many different connections that are coming from it. But also on a personal level, I'm seeing it's made me more aware of the presence of God throughout my life and the favor of God on my life. Again, just going back to journaling and reflecting, you really do realize what God has done. So yeah, on a ministerial level, lots of opportunities and open doors, but on a personal and spiritual level, I've definitely seen the growth and more awareness of the presence of God.
Beautiful. Now, Latoya, yes, we have done the podcast. We did your book launch together. We had a great time laughing and crying on the stage. And yeah, I mean, we could literally go on for another hour or two, but we're gonna stop here.
Okay.
And we're gonna just ask my signature question before we wrap up. So we're here, I'm here, I'm gonna try and be on every Monday, same time, same place, speaking to different authors that I've been working with on the power of journaling, publishing, and leaving a legacy. So final question for you, Latoya, is what are you currently learning about yourself?
Whew, a lot. um, the first one that comes to mind, and I'll go with this, is that my voice is needed in all the places and spaces that God sends me. I was actually writing about this recently, so I can pull that up quickly just to, because I think what I've written would actually really answer your question perfectly. Because sometimes we feel as though, well, what do I have to offer? What can I say? But this is what I've written recently in journaling. It says, my voice is necessary in all the places and spaces God sends me. I've been through some challenges in my life, and when I share parts of my story, I see the impact it has on people, from young people to older people. It's taken a while to get here, but by God's grace, the impact of my ministry so far has forced me to finally accept that I can't be silent. I'm very private, and I love that for me. But for years, being private also kept me silent, and I'm learning to identify the difference and to speak as God leads me. So just going back to what I said earlier, being such a private person, I'm learning to identify the difference between being private and the difference between you have something to say and you're being silent, but God needs you to speak. That's been one of my biggest lessons of late.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Latoya, for joining us. Please put the link to your book in the chat. It's been great having you on. I would love to have you back on again. That was far too short. There's so much more to say and share. Thank you for those joining us. Natalie, great to see you. My big sister Marie, what's up? Andrea, great to have you on. She said, this is powerful. Thank you for sharing. And Lonette said, yes, my voice is necessary in all places God sends me. Love this. So Latoya, thank you again. Any final words of encouragement for someone who maybe does that deep work, does the journaling, does the writing and the processing in private, in that private space, and they're maybe feeling that tug, I think I need to make this public. I think God may be calling me to write a book. What would you say to someone in that position?
I would say take the first step. And that first step may look different for different people. For somebody, it may be finding a mentor, it may be doing some research, it may be prayer, but just take that first step, because otherwise you'll forever sit with this thought and with this pulling, and it will get to a point where it's so uncomfortable. It's the eagle in the nest, isn't it? You know, there's a rustling, and then he's just going to push you. Yeah, I would just say to people, take that first step and believe that everything you need to do what God has called you to do is already inside you. Otherwise, he wouldn't be calling you to do it. So you already have everything you need, and you have Jesus, so he's going to help you. But just take that first step.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Latoya, for joining us. Please come back again.
I will,
and have some
definitely.
more.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Bless you. That was Latoya Grace. She's an author that I worked with quite intensely last year. We had an incredible time doing different things. And one of the things that came out of that was her book, Worship Therapy. Worship Therapy by Latoya Grace is available on Amazon and Kindle. She'll put a link in the chat for you. But it was great having her on. So I'm hoping to be here every Monday, most Mondays, same time, same place, talking about journaling, talking about publishing, talking about leaving a legacy. And so, yes, it'll be great to have some more authors on. Juanita, great to have you. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Thank you so much, Marie, for the comments. Great to have you on. So final words. I shared a journaling prompt at the beginning. I'll also share one at the end. And this one is from my book. This is in my own opinion beautiful. Absolutely love this book. It's called Women in Waiting. Feels a bit like an adult's picture book. It's full of gorgeous illustrations. Thank you, AI. no shame. Beautiful illustrations, as well as some journaling prompts and just encouragement in any kind of waiting season that you may be in. It's a coffee table book, and it even has music, QR code to music that you can listen to as you have a read through Women in Waiting by Camelle-ilona. It's on Amazon. And I will read a journaling prompt for you because, I love to journal. And this one is, where have I mistaken control for care? Where have I mistaken control for care? Something to think about. It's one of the journaling prompts in my latest book, Women in Waiting. There's a whole course and event and all sorts around that book. But great to be joining you. Thank you for those joining us. My Aunt Denise has joined us. Darlene, thank you so much for that. Latoya, yes, great having you on. Amazing having you on. Great to see you, Pamela, all the way from Virginia in the USA. Looking forward to having more guests. People keep asking me what I've been doing over the past few years, and this is part of what I've been doing. I've got over 20 books on Amazon, lots around journaling. I really felt in my spirit to create books that people can have. I will create them with journaling prompts, lots of journaling prompts and space for people to write. So when people begin to write in the book that was started out as mine becomes their book, because now it's filled with their story. And it's just ways to help people journal, write, exhale, process what they have going on the inside of them. So we had Latoya Grace on. It was great to have her. This is her book, Worship Therapy. It's the 30-day devotional, available on Amazon. Pamela said, would love to be a featured author. Yes, please do reach out, Camelle-ilona.com or houseofilona.com. Do reach out. Would love to speak to you some more about this. My sister says, keep going, sis, keep going. Thank you so much. Yes, Pamela was a writer for Ordained Magazine. Remember Ordained Magazine? We had that going for a good 3 years. That was incredible. We did that every quarter. We had over 100 writers and contributors to Ordained Magazine. That was a lot of fun. And Pamela has now written a devotional. Awesome, Pamela. Please do reach out to me. I would love to speak to you some more and get you featured. So I'll be here on a Monday, all Mondays, most Mondays, hopefully around this time, same place, speaking to authors, having conversations about journaling, about publishing, about leaving a legacy. It's been great to be on here, and see you next Monday. Bless you. Bye.